Hello, beautiful people of the internet. This is not a review video. Well, I guess it's a review of the year.
A year, I guess, yeah.
But still, yeah, this is our top 5 games of 2021. As always, I've got It's Classified, aka Nick, with me
Hello.
as we run down the year and the best games that we played during the year.
Definitely a lighter year compared to previous years.
Yeah, but still feel like there was a lot of heavy hitters in the year, or
A lot of
games that
surprise
hit harder than they were supposed to.
Yeah, they're those surprise heavy hitters. No one, like, this year has, like, ones you expect to hit heavy.
Yes. So the way we're gonna do it, we're gonna take turns going back and forth. We're gonna start at 5 and end with our top games. Before we end with the top games, we'll give some honorable mentions of maybe our 6 through 10s or those kind of things. But that's what we'll do, and we'll take turns and then give our reasoning why. And as we get through the list, we'll have to sit. We're going to say why these games beat the other games that were on our lists and stuff too. So keep in mind that these are just our opinions. We're not here to rag on anybody's favorite game or anything. If your favorite game is amongst our lists and maybe you thought it should have been higher, let us know in the comments. We're definitely happy to start a dialogue about it. But again, these are just our opinions. These are the best games that we played, and I think most of the games we completed, or at least played the majority of. Is that correct?
Every game that's on my list, I finished. We didn't
Same.
play. We didn't play through all. We barely got anywhere into Shin Megami Tensei 5, so that's not going to be anywhere on this list.
No.
And neither of us played Deathloop, so that's not
Yep.
going to be on this list either.
Yep. So I'm sure if you follow our channels and you've been a part of our streams, I think you'll probably know the top games on our list, at least for mine.
Yeah, I think yours is pretty obvious.
Mine is very obvious.
We'll
But
get there.
we've decided
Well,
that I will start because Nick's top games are a little bit more of a mystery, so it's going to be a little bit more exciting to see his. But in 5th place for me is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I have said since I played it that it was one of my top 5 games of the year. I did originally have it higher, but some games knocked it out to a lower spot. But I still think that it's an amazing game. It is a lot of fun. It's fast paced and frantic. And it's lighthearted. I mean, it really is playing a Disney Pixar movie. With just fun combat, fun wacky guns, everything you expect out of Ratchet and Clank game, except they cranked it up for PS5. The Rift mechanic was a lot of fun during combat. Rivet is a very cool character, and I'm excited for her standalone game whenever it inevitably happens. Yeah, I loved the game. Played that one completely on stream, and everybody that watched and I had a really good time with it. So that is my number 5. I think the games that are above it, I just have a little bit more that edged it down to a 5th spot.
Fair enough. Because my number 5 is exactly the same as Ratchet and Clank. So there's probably the only one that's probably the same on both our lists. Well, no, there's another. I'm gonna guess it's on both our lists, but maybe in different spots. But this is probably the only number that's gonna be exactly the same for both of us. But yeah, everything you said is just the same. I mean, the game really shows off the power of pushing SSD and where the idea of the generation is going. It's not for graphical power; it's for fixing the load time bottlenecks. And this game really shows that without that bottleneck anymore, we can do some crazy stuff. But even that, this is actually my first Ratchet and Clank game, and it was a blast to play through. Jennifer Hale does great as Rivet, so I think this is going to be a great opportunity for have a spin-off of Ratchet and Clank. And I'm assuming it's going to happen because Insomniac does to know they're living up to their name. They don't know how to sleep. I'm sure it's coming.
Yeah, it pretty much is. It definitely is. Rivet was really well received, and so I'm sure that her universe gives the Insomniac a new playground to play within, so to speak. They can do different things because it's a different dimension. So yeah, it's definitely coming. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
That means if you're looking to go have a PS5, go buy it.
Yes. Absolutely. Although you missed a big Sony sale for the end of the year, so it's back up to full price now. But still, go buy it; it's worth it.
Yeah.
All right, number 4, Persona 5 Strikers.
Okay.
There were multiple periods of the year where it had fallen off my list, and then I put it back on my list, and then it fell off my list. But as I was thinking of the year in games, and with possible news that Persona 4 Golden's coming to Switch, and my Persona itch is needing scratched, and I was just thinking about it, and the game is so good. It's so good. It's such a worthy sequel to your base Persona. Persona 5 Royal is still better, but I think it had some of my favorite Persona moments in it with Zenkichi's awakening and some of the dialogue between the characters. I mean, it literally propelled Haru to Ann's level in terms of my waifu for laifu. So like the game was a really great way to start off the year. And I just looking back on it, I think I like it a lot more now than I did then.
Interesting.
Well, I think also like right after I finished it, Monster Hunter Rise came out, so I was really excited for that, and so I think that kind of tinted the lenses a little bit there. But looking back on it, it deserves the top 4 spot. It's a solid game that Omega Force did a really good job of carrying over the Persona elements to their Musou game style. The new characters they fit in super well with the old characters, and some of the characters that didn't get so much screen time in Persona 5 completely took over the show in Persona 5 Strikers. So it's an amazing game, and it deserves a spot on this list. Reminiscing about it has got me wanting to play Persona 5 Royal, so that might be coming up on my stream sometime soon. Who knows?
I actually wasn't expecting that game to be there. All right.
Yep.
Number 4 on my list is. I'm kind of cheating a little bit.
Oh Lord.
But I don't care. It's my list. Number 4 on my list is Doki Doki Literature Club Plus.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't remember this was coming.
So yeah, obviously this game's been out for a while on PC. But this is the first time this game has gone to console. Actually, the first time I played it, I knew kind of the gist of it. It's not hard to avoid spoilers all this time. And if it was just a re-release, I wouldn't have done it. But it's more than that. It had a bunch of extra content that was more like a prequel-ish thing and really expand upon the lore of the game, which you would think it didn't have that. But a lot of the extra story content is just really touching. So on top of the fact that it has it really expands on the characters, those 4 girls in the game, more so than I ever thought was going to be possible. I mean, the original game is just so good anyway. I mean, it's one of the best horror games ever made. So it deserved a spot on that list. There was no way it couldn't have made it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not here to tell you what your list can and cannot be. I agree. I think it meets the threshold of not being a re-release with all the extra content that actually added to the game. It wasn't like superfluous costumes or anything like that. So no,
yeah.
No complaints from me, my friend. On number 3, we're flying through. On number 3, Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm literally encoding our review for it, so that'll be up in here a little bit as well. It's one of the best. It's one of the best superhero games. It's certifiably one of the best games of the year. Mm-hmm. Everything I said about Ratchet and Clank applies to Guardians of the Galaxy, but just times 1,000 because this game was targeted for me in particular. 80s music is my favorite era of music. This soundtrack is all 80s music. They brought in a whole new band to make original music for the lore of the game. That's super awesome. All of the characters are on point with in terms of comic book references and even some MCU references. The gameplay was solid, if not a little bit repetitive, but because I was having such a good time with it, I'm willing to overlook that. It is one of the best games that that IDOS Montreal has ever released. It's one of the best superhero games. It won best narrative at the Game Awards this year, and rightfully so, because the story's awesome. All of the voice acting is super solid. I still am listening to the soundtrack on a regular basis because of how good it is. Not that I wasn't before, because it's all 80s music, but even the Star-Lord stuff I'm listening to on a consistent basis. It's just a fantastic game. And if you were dumb enough to miss out on it, or dumb enough to hold Marvel's Avengers against it, forget that. Go out and buy it right now. It's awesome.
100% agree with that. Okay, so my top 3, they were all within razor margins of each other. I had to think it through who was number 1, 2, and 3. But eventually got down to an order. But I mean, these 2 games, I mean, just go play them. Buy them and play them.
Yeah.
So number 3 actually held my game of the year for the longest amount of time.
Oh my god.
But it lost it in October, because that's when the other games came out.
Okay.
Number 3 is Gosnia.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I played this game back in March. It was a Switch indie. Now, I'm not sure. I think I actually heard this game come out in Japan like a few years ago, but it came out in the United States with an English translation in 2022. So that means it's 21 to me. So if you guys know me, I really like Ace Attorney. I love Danganronpa. I love murder mystery, stuff like that. It's kind of like that, but it's basically like a mafia game, but stuck in like a sci-fi time loop. It's just really incredible how they took these two, a roguelike in that formula, and merged it together, and it just came out masterfully. Because it's still, even though it has a kind of a highbrow concept, it still focuses on its characters, and the whole way to beat the game is to learn more about the characters. Because you don't have ways to collect evidence, you just have to learn people's tells. So it's probably one of the most incredible indie games I've ever played. And it actually just came out on Steam today. So if you have a PC, go buy that.
Yeah, I saw you were playing it again. I'm like, I didn't know it was on PC, but cool.
just today.
Sunday release. That's kind of weird, but all right.
It's kind of weird, but as soon as I'm like, bye.
All right, now we're in the real stuff. Top 2. Mine are no secret.
They're not.
See, my 3 to 5 were more interesting than my 1 or 2 because they were locked in out of the gate. Your 1 to 3 is more interesting because there was so much fluctuation as you were playing more games. So, my number 2 will only be a little bit surprising just because of how much time I've played it compared to my number 1. But number 1 just hit a little bit harder for me. So number 2 is Monster Hunter Rise. There's a poster of it right there. You can see the corner of it. Monster Hunter Rise. I have Monster Hunter Mondays on my stream for a reason. Monster Hunter is one of my favorite franchises. I love it to death. And Monster Hunter Rise was the latest mainline hunting game. And it was amazing. They simplified the menu system and made it a lot more streamlined. The wire bug totally eclipses the clutch claw from Monster Hunter World like you wouldn't believe, and it makes movement such a fluid and fun and fast thing that even slow weapons have a lot of movement options and lead to a lot more dynamic play. I won't say there weren't some issues, especially now that the PC release is out. I tried playing the Switch version yesterday, and it's 30 FPS sucks, but it's still super, super good. I will say there were some content issues at launch that were rectified over free updates over the 3 months after release, and they've regularly updated it with new event quests and partner quests and stuff like that. So I hope that all of that continues as we lead up to Sunbreak this summer. But yeah, Monster Hunter Rise was super fun, still super fun. I have over 205 hours in it on my Switch. I have like 20 hours in on PC already. So I cannot stop playing it, and I won't stop playing it.
You legitimately can't stop playing this game. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, granted, Cody's got to do. I don't like Monster Hunter, and Rise did to fix the problems I had with the franchise. Mm-hmm. I don't like it as much as you do. Nowhere close. In my top 5.
No.
But it made me change. So credit where credit's due.
Yes, yeah. Monster Hunter Rise is great. You can get it on Switch for a little bit cheaper these days because it's been out for about a year. It just came out a week and a half ago on Steam, so there's numerous ways to play it right now, and it's awesome. If you have a PC, though, go for the PC version because 60 frames per second, so it's just whoo, so nice. All right, Nick.
You want 60 frames.
Number 2.
Number 2. Well, my number 2 is your number 3. It's Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, the game did not deserve to be in the shadow of the Avengers. It was, and so people were gun shy about that, but it's not the Avengers. It is what you wanted the Avengers to be. You only play Star-Lord, which is, some people was great with it, and that's fine. The gameplay does get a little stale, as you said, but that story it's the best. Okay, it is the best story of the year, period, bar none. It has the best soundtrack of the year, bar none. It has the best performances in a game. I honestly would probably say either Star-Lord or Gamora are my best performances. It hits everything perfectly. I honestly would pick this Guardians group over the MCU Guardians, that's saying a lot.
Not really, because Chris Pratt's Mario, and he's kind of a piece of shit, so, you know.
I mean, still, the Guardians, they took a known, the movie, well, that's whatever. MCU, they took a known franchise and made them known, so they're still good. But this is, even with Star-Lord, the MCU Star-Lord's kind of an idiot, doesn't even know Missouri's on Earth. This Star-Lord is not stupid. He knows he's from Earth and stuff like that. He's just kind of a cocky show-off, but he always gets a blow up in his face.
Yeah. And he learns from his mistakes, and then still lets stuff blow up in his face.
Yeah, it's such a great game, and I'm hoping Indiana's Montreal gets another chance as a franchise. I'm hoping it's sold very well. Just go out and buy this game. I mean, it's up there with Spider-Man. That's saying some praise.
Yes, I will say that it is up there with Spider-Man. I will say that it is up there. It is not Spider-Man. All right. So we'll do now. Let's give a section for honorable mentions. These are games that we played that we really liked that didn't make the lists or our personal lists for whatever reason. There's really no limit on this. So if you played the game this year, I feel like that qualifies. We won't worry about release year for honorable mentions. My first honorable mention is Monster Hunter World Iceborne. I was late to that party due to other releases and stuff like that, and so this year on my stream I got to experience all of Monster Hunter World Iceborne. We literally wrapped up Fatalis like a day before Monster Hunter Rise PC came out, so Monster Hunter World Iceborne is super great. It does have some problems. I hate the Clutch Claw, but it's super great. We're gonna go back to it on stream and mod it and take on some modded monsters and stuff like that. But Monster Hunter World Iceborne is also great. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention how much fun I had playing it this year. Nick, honorable mention?
I mean, is your only honorable mention?
No, we'll just keep going back and forth. I have four, I think.
Rapid fire. All right, I mean, that's fine. My mentions are still a game that came out this year. So my first honorable mention is Persona 5 Strikers. So oddly enough, I mean, I love Persona. I came into the franchise later than you did, but I grew attached to that franchise fast. That's the reason I have a PC, because I want to play Persona 4.
Yes.
It probably held my game of the year for like a month when it came out, because it was kind of a dry spell. But unfortunately, other games just came in, and I thought that were better than it. But it still is solid. If you want more of the Phantom Thieves, play it. I mean, it's definitely a unique twist in the formula. I don't want its twist in the formula to be what the main line does, but from now on, like every Persona 6, 7, whatever, have a Striker spinoff.
Yep,
I'm down with that.
Yep. Another honorable mention for me, Danganronpa 1 and 2. I'd love to put V3 on there, but I'm not quite finished with it yet. But Danganronpa Decadence released on Switch right at the end of the year in December, and I've been flying through that franchise because we have a retrospective that we're going to do as soon as I get done with it. But Danganronpa 1, 2, and 3, the anime, all awesome stuff. And V3... V3's V3 so far. But Danganronpa 1 and 2 were a really good time. I'm sad that I waited so long to play them, especially since I own them on multiple systems. I just needed it to come to my Switch to finish it, but I've had a really good time with the series, and it's awesome. So,
Fair enough. Another one of my honorable mentions is the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles.
that was actually going to be my next honorable mention.
Oh, there we go. So we're both gonna let's just talk about Great Ace Attorney Chronicles real quick. Then, I mean, it's more Ace Attorney. It's the best for 3D models. It's hard to say which looks better, the hand drawn with the 3D models. But for 3D models specifically, they never really looked great for Ace Attorney until now.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. And the story is some of the best writing in the series has ever had.
Yes.
4, 5, and 6 aren't really together. They're a trilogy, but they're just kind of separate. 1 and 2 are a duology. They have to be played together.
Yes.
To make one whole story, and it is just an immaculate way of doing it. I can never say and you can never say Sherlock Holmes the right way, because now I can only say Sherlock Holmes.
Exactly.
That's the correct way to me. It's just, if you like Ace Attorney, it's more of that. Go buy the game so we can get more Ace Attorney, please.
Yes, and yeah, like I said, my next honorable mention was going to be Great Ace Attorney as well. It was in my top 5 until I started reminiscing about Persona 5 Strikers. So it is a great series of Ace Attorney games. I would not mind going back and revisiting and looking at another like Ryunosuke Naruhodo game. I really want Ace Attorney 7 because I want Phoenix back, but like if they did a great Ace Attorney 3, I'm still pre-ordering it by day 1. So those games were awesome. It definitely scratched the itch that I needed for more Ace Attorney stuff, but now give me Ace Attorney 7, please, Capcom. Capcom, you and I are good friends right now. Let's not spoil the relationship.
Capcom has you right now, big time.
Another honorable mention from you, Nick, or if you have one?
Yeah, no, I have 2 more.
Okay.
So the next one is Guilty Gear Strive.
Yep.
So this one I actually wasn't planning to get, but you mentioned, go play it, and then you never got it yourself. So I'm playing here by myself, getting better.
To be fair, they never sent the store another copy to cover my pre-order, and then the kid that pre-ordered it never picked it up. So I always felt bad about taking it, but I don't see that guy. I need to buy it. If it goes on sale, I'll buy it. But go on.
Well, we have King of Fighters 15 next month, so just focus on getting that now.
No thanks. I'm good.
Anyway, Arts and Works has perfected the style of anime fighting games. Like, stop. Shonen Jump needs to stop giving it to whoever they're giving it to, and give it to Arc System Works.
Yes.
How many great games? I mean, good. That's a whole other tangent. But I mean, the game plays amazingly. And it's a lot of these systems a little wacky. And the story mode is actually not really you're not playing the story. You just watch it. There's no fighting during it. It's a little weird. But I mean, it has rollback netcode. That is now standard in fighting games. You don't have rollback netcode.
You're
what
Smash
the hell
Bros.
Is wrong with you? You're Smash Bros. Don't be Smash Bros. It literally is a standard. It plays well. It runs well. Just fantastic game all around.
Awesome. My last honorable mention goes to a game that I really enjoyed, but it just didn't make my list, and that is one Metroid Dread. I want to go on the record saying I enjoyed the game, even though during our review it may have not seemed that way, because I wanted the game to be better, but I only wanted the game to be better because I liked it so much and wanted more of it. It is a very good game, and I like it a whole lot. There were some things that I had complaints about that you can see in our review, but I just want to stress again that I liked the game. It's part of my honorable mentions. It just didn't make the cut for my top 5.
This is great. You're so defensive about it. This is great. My last honorable mention. This one was probably the closest to cracking in Ratchet and Clank and knocking off the list. But the game has some problems. Last honorable mention is Halo Infinite.
Mm-hmm.
Its gameplay is 10 out of 10. It is the best Halo's ever been. Honestly, that grapple shot, I don't want another Halo game without a grapple shot. There was other smart abilities too, but you don't have the grapple shot hooked up at all times. What are you doing? I mean, you don't need gun when you are the bullet now. Just try to run, pull yourself towards him.
You don't need gun. You are bullet.
That's I legit. There was times that I went into a hall with a bunch of grunts. I'm like, I don't need a gun. I just grapple shot one, punch him, grapple shot the other, punch him, just kill the whole room with him, not just firing one bullet. It's masterful. The open world needs some work though. It's your open forest or Forerunner hallways. Take your pick.
Yeah.
The story not as bad as 5, but I don't understand what was going on some of the times because they still like didn't explain the full gap between what happened in 5 and this. And then it's gameplay, not it's gameplay, but it's UI and it has some network issues. So everything surrounding it is not great, but that gameplay is a diamond in the rough. So you have a great foundation compared to these other shooters from Microsoft. You know, Battlefield just screwed the pooch, and Call of Duty's just Call of Duty. But you can build up on that foundation, but it's pretty good.
Well, all right. That concludes the honorable mention segment.
Game of the year time.
Well, let's hold off for 1 second. Let's do
okay.
the worst game that we played. Just one worst game. The definitive worst game that you played this year.
Oh, easy.
Because I don't think either of us have enough to do a top 5 worst games this year.
No.
So I know what yours is, but mine is different, so it's fine. My worst game is World's End Club. Especially after playing through Danganronpa 1 and 2, World's End Club had so much potential. It even copied Danganronpa 3, the anime, with the risks and the forbidden actions, and then just squandered it with bad gameplay in a very, very lackluster story. So yeah. Spike Chunsoft, do better.
Well, it wasn't even Spike Chunsoft. It was just the guy who created it went on to do his own thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, still.
I mean, my worst is the same thing. I mean,
I thought you were gonna say 12 minutes.
12 minutes is close.
All right.
12 minutes is close. But at least in 12 minutes case, I can give it the case of its gameplay loop is interesting. Its story is worse.
Yeah.
Its story is objectively worse because of the direction it went. But World's End Club is just bad story and bad gameplay. The game just doesn't work. I don't know what's going on with it. I mean, there's times in the game where you are objectively not getting hit by something, and the game still tells you got hit by something, you die.
Yes.
It's a one-hit kill, which for the type of game that looks like, it's like I'm not expecting Dark Souls out of this, and I got Dark Souls.
Yeah.
No, it's World End Club. And I told you how disappointed. You can see how disappointed I was because I played Danganronpa going into this, and I hated it. Now you have played Danganronpa, you see what I'm saying.
Yes. Yeah. If we went back and reviewed it, I would have to change my review score. Because didn't I give it like a 4?
You give it a 5.
You give it a 5? Yeah, no, that needs to come down to like a 3.
Yeah, I give it a 2.
Yeah, 3 was this. Okay. Yeah, no, that needs to come down. That needs to come down. All right, Game of the Year time. Game of the Year. These are the games that we picked out were the best that we played for whatever reason this year. There's only one game I haven't mentioned yet that came out this year that I played a crap ton of. And so obviously it's my number 1. It's Monster Hunter Stories 2. I love this game so damn much. But why is it over Monster Hunter Rise? But let me tell you. I love turn-based RPGs. It's a Monster Hunter turn-based RPG. It's a Monster Hunter turn-based RPG that's kind of like Pokemon, but kind of not because you don't control the monster. The monster does what it wants. And you can guide the monster into what you want it to do using friendship. But it has so many of the core Monster Hunter mechanics in a turn-based RPG form, and it's just brilliant. I'm so upset they stopped making DLC for it because I want to hunt everything. I want a Magnum Malo DLC so I can fucking ride my Samurai Tiger. I want a Malzano DLC when Sunbreak comes out because he's super cool and he probably would do really cool like bleed and like absorption mechanic stuff in a battle. Monster Hunter Stories 2 is so much fun. I would say there are some issues with it in terms of like its online play and like the limitations there, because you can't go through like the whole adventure with somebody. It's only certain missions, which kind of sucks. I think it would work a lot better if you were playing with somebody, that your partner would just go away and the person you're playing with took over. But that's such a small complaint. I don't care. I played through most of the game by myself, and some with my friend Kayla, and we had a ball. The game is just so much fun. I haven't played it in months, and I think I'm starting to get a rash to play more of it, because I was thinking about it the other day. I think I had kept my mind distracted for so long, but now the withdrawal symptoms are kicking in, because it's so much fun. And it took up my entirety of July and August, pretty much. It was painful to stop playing it to play through Great Ace Attorney. And poor Skyward Sword, haven't even finished it yet.
I haven't even started Skyward Sword, man. Poor Skyward Sword.
This year's Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
And I haven't even played Ghost of Tsushima.
We're definitely.
Oh yeah, that's true. But yeah, if you like turn-based RPG, and even if you're like a casual Monster Hunter fan, I recommend picking this up, because it's a lot of fun. It's got a radically different art style, replacing the, I guess you would say, realistic graphics of World and Rise, and replace them with heavily cel-shaded, stylized versions of the monsters that I think are, in some cases, better than the actual monsters in the games. So it's really great. It's on Switch, it's on PC. Get it. You get free stuff in Rise if you have it. So like, it's a win-win. And that is definitively my game of the year for 2021.
All right.
And Nick, go ahead. There's only one game you haven't mentioned as well.
So you were predicting this. So my game of the year is it came down to the wire for this. My number one is Metroid Dread.
I tried to dethrone it with Guardians of the Galaxy. I tried.
This is actually the first time I ever get a game of the year to a Metroid game. Prime 3, never took it for me. Granted, we don't get Metroid games that often.
Yeah.
So, and on paper, because I mean, it's the best gameplay of the year, I think. I gave the best narrative to Guardians of the Galaxy, and honestly, I'm a type of person who I would value story over gameplay. But so this is coming off a little bit, maybe a bit of a biasness, but the story was what it needed to be to me. It fixed what went wrong 10 years ago. And it said, it's kind of an apology. We're sorry for what we did, how we treated Samus. We're going to make her the badass you always thought she was. And she's a badass in spades in this game. And honestly, it was all I wanted from a Metroid game. It played to me like Super Metroid again. It was just a faster Super Metroid. And there was one complaint I had with, the one enemy in one perfect zone was a little cheap. But other than that, it knocked it out of the park. It was everything I want it to be. So we have our differences on that, but
you can go check out our review to see more.
I guess, yes. But play Metroid Dread. It deserves it. Metroid is back, and hopefully this time it doesn't go anywhere.
Well, I mean, with those sales numbers, it won't.
No, it's the MDP numbers just came out. It looks like it's very, very close to being the best-selling Metroid game.
Yeah.
If it's not already. So, it is. I've already played it through twice. I want to play it through it a third time. I've already 100% the items runs. I'm tempted to do a speed run, but I'm not. I've never been into a speed running part of Metroid. But I just want to play the game again. To me, it's just so good. And I played it through both. I played it on stream for once. I've also played it on handheld mode on the OLED, and it just looks beautiful no matter what you do with it.
Yes.
It is. If you would have told me at the beginning of the year your game of the year is going to be Metroid Dread, I would have laughed, because that game's in development hell. It's not coming out. No one's gonna care. And I almost cried when they announced it. And I took a time off work to make sure I was playing this game.
Yes.
So it's everything I want it to be. And it's nice not being disappointed by a major franchise I love.
Well, 2021 in the rearview mirror. If you had to give a grade to 2021 and like just overall games, maybe even ones you didn't play but like know about, what do you think you'd give it?
A B.
B? I was in there too.
Those
I was gonna say B plus.
Yeah, I mean the surprises of Metroid and Guardians really bring it up, but it's because of the pandemic. A lot of games were delayed. Horizon was expected to come out last year. It didn't. It's coming out next month. I wouldn't doubt Pokemon's getting some good some looks right now of Legends. It was probably supposed to be due out last year because of the pandemic, but it didn't happen. So next year's top 5 is going to be a lot. I wouldn't doubt next year we're probably going to go from 5 to 10 just because of how much come out this year.
Well,
we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. Things could still be delayed, but it's possible.
Fair enough. Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But that is it. That is our top 5 games of 2021. Everybody. I hope that if you hadn't played some of the games that we mentioned, that maybe you will. If you're not being crushed under the weight of your backlog like me, or trying to plan out the rest of your year around the new games releasing, and you have some time, try to pick some of these games up. Definitely Guardians and Ratchet and Metroid Dread and Monster Hunter Stories 2. I think those were the underrated of all of those. But definitely pick those up and play them because we think they're pretty damn good. Well, Nick, as we conclude here, where can the beautiful people of the internet find you?
So my Twitch channel is gonna be it's _classified__. And then if you're watching this, my YouTube channel, it's you already found it. If you're not, it's classified games. And then my Twitter is its_classified.
And you can find me on my Twitch Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at dandelion_777. If you want to find my Twitter, where I mostly just retweet Nick stuff, you can find that at dandy_line777. And if you if you're watching this on my YouTube, then you found my YouTube. Like, comment, share on the video, please. Subscribe if you haven't. Go find Nick because he's a lovely person too. And we hope to see you on our streams and in the next video. Say goodbye, Nick. Good night, everybody. Thanks.